If you're wondering if one style of house is more valuable and sells faster than another, you would be right. So which style is America's favorite and which one makes you the most money? Well, we have surveys to tell us from respected sources like the National Home Builders Association, Realtor.com, and a Trulia Harris poll. They show the styles that buyers say they like the most, but also which ones have the highest resale value. What's going to surprise you is that the most popular styles don't make you the most money or have the best resale value when you sell. So let's go over the styles and what you'll be surprised by. Okay, so the National Home Builders Association has Colonials and American traditional homes as the #1 most popular style, meaning that they make up about half of all the single family MLS listings in the US. But they are not the highest in resale value. And the Harris poll and Realtor.com have a different style as #1, and I'll get to that style in a minute. So just because colonials are popular and everywhere, that doesn't mean you get the most growth in appreciation or value. If you're driving around through almost any suburban neighborhood, the colonial is the style you're most likely to see. They have center hall layouts, symmetrical design, shutters, pitched roofs, and a timeless classic look. So the 6-year appreciation rate or increase in value over 6 years is 28%. That's only about 4.5% per year. It's steady growth, but it's nothing special. So even though they're everywhere, colonials perform reasonably well. Next up, coming in hot, are ranch style homes. They're hot, but they're still not #1. Ranches make up almost a third of listings on the market in the US, but here's where it gets interesting. Ranches have the lowest median list price, but watch this. The 6-year appreciation rate is 44.7%. That's over 7% per year. That is some of the strongest long-term growth of any architectural style. These are the single-story, easy-living homes that exploded in popularity after World War II, and they're still going strong today. Ranches are among the most affordable and in high demand for first-time buyers, definitely for downsizers, and anyone who wants a simple open layout. So even though ranch homes are on the modest end price-wise, they're actually a high-performing investment. Okay, we're going to get to Trulia and Realtor.com's #1 style in a second, but next up are modern homes, making up about 12% of active US listings, but their influence is huge, especially in the West, the Southwest, and new construction communities. They have clean lines, open floor plans, lots of glass, geometric shapes, and are usually energy efficient designs. Their median list price is much higher, as you'd think, at over $600,000, and the 6-year appreciation rate is 43.5%, in line with ranches, but still much better than colonials. So what's driving demand for modern homes? Well, fast appreciation for one, as you can see, but modern homes tend to be newer builds, which means fewer surprises, fewer repairs, and layouts that match the way people live today. They have special appeal for younger and move-up buyers. So I'd say that modern is becoming as much a lifestyle choice as an architectural choice. Next up is the bigger surprise, Craftsman homes. These are an American classic. Now, they only make up about 10% or so of US listings, but the Harris poll says that Craftsman are buyers' #1 favorite style, followed by ranches at #2. Craftsman homes are loaded with charm, known for exposed beams, built-in furniture like benches, handcrafted woodwork, large windows, and an open floor plan, often with a prominent fireplace. On the exterior, they have low-pitched gable or hip roofs with overhanging eaves, prominent front porches with thick, tapered columns, and a strong emphasis on natural materials like wood, stone, and brick. The 6-year appreciation rate for Craftsman is also 43.7%. That's nearly identical to ranches and modern homes, a sign that Craftsman is still a top-tier style for long-term value. Next up are the Mediterranean homes, which make up only about 4% of the US listings, and they're concentrated in a few warm weather markets like Southern California, Southern Florida, Arizona, and the Texas coast, or anywhere you find palm trees. Think barrel clay roofs, stucco, and arches. They're beautiful and they're expensive. The median list price is $725,000, the highest of all major styles. But here's the twist. Realtor.com found zero price growth over the last year. Why is that? These homes tend to dominate luxury markets where the buyer pool is more limited in size, and they also require consistent maintenance, especially those barrel clay or tile roofs. Still, these houses have unmistakable character, beauty, and curb appeal, and in the right market, they can sell quite high. Now, you may be wondering about Victorians, Tudors, and Capes. All three are considered to be English-inspired homes and are very regional, located mostly in the Northeast, New England, but also in the Midwest. This is why they're not up there on the national popularity list, because each one of these makes up less than 2% of active U.S. listings. So Capes are located, by the way, in a lot of coastal regions too, and buyers love them for their quaintness. Now, Victorians have a real detailed and ornate feel to them, but are not as popular because they're old, mostly built in the late 1800s and early 1900s, so the cost to maintain and restore them is high. Their interiors often come with smaller parlor-type rooms on the first floor, narrow hallways, and they can have energy efficiency issues too. So as I say to my clients, Victorians are an ongoing labor of love to maintain, and therefore sort of a young person's game, or for people with the money to keep them up. You have to really love the architecture, I think, to take on a Victorian. Tudors are beloved because they have a very romantic storybook feel with a medieval vibe, steep roofs, and that half timbering. They also have a higher cost to maintain and sometimes have energy efficiency issues too. So Tudors and Victorian styles are sort of a special niche buy with a lot of annual upkeep, so their resale value is not that high and therefore not as popular among buyers. So to conclude, Colonials make up about half of all inventory in the US and are very popular, but the highest resale values are ranches, modern homes, and Craftsman style homes. Capes do well, as I said, in the Northeast, but tend to be smaller in size. Victorians and Tudors are easy to find in the Northeast, but they appeal to only certain buyers who have a very specific love of that style of architecture. They can sell well while you own them, but they need to be heavily maintained, so the return on investment can end up lower. So what does all this mean? If you're buying, I'd pay attention to which styles are appreciating the most, not necessarily the most common style that you find on the MLS. And if you're selling, I'd highlight the architectural features that buyers are searching for in your region of the country. I would love to hear what your favorite style is in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.